Today, we're uncovering the 7 deeply insightful and surprising ways that an INFJ can be seen as dangerous. This is not your typical villainous danger we're talking about. It's a subtle, nuanced, and often overlooked aspect of this rather intriguing personality type. Still, it's probably a good idea not to get on their bad side. So let's just start with the basics, shall we? INFJ is an acronym for Introverted, Intuitive, Feeling, and Judging. It's one of the 16 personality types identified by the Myers-Briggs type indicator. INFJs are often seen as quiet, introspective individuals who have a knack for understanding complex ideas and human emotions. They are the rarest of the Myers-Briggs personality types, making up just 1% of the global population. This rarity, combined with their innate perceptiveness, can make them seem mysterious, even to those who know them well. Known for their deep empathy, INFJs are often able to sense what others are feeling before they've even articulated it themselves. They possess a natural intuition, which allows them to understand the world around them in a unique and profound way. Their introverted nature, however, can make them seem distant or aloof to those who don't know them well. But don't be fooled. Beneath their tranquil exterior lies a rich, vibrant inner world filled with thoughts, ideas, and emotions. Now, you might be wondering how such a personality type could be dangerous. Well, hold tight because we're about to explore that. Number 1, manipulative tactics. Let's dive into the deep end. INFJs, known for their intuitive understanding of others, can sometimes use this profound insight for manipulation. Picture this: an INFJ is like a master chess player, anticipating moves, understanding motivations, and adapting strategies on the fly. With their ability to read people and situations, they can, if they choose, manipulate circumstances to their advantage. For example, an INFJ might subtly guide a conversation to lead others to a certain decision. They may use their understanding of a person's desires or fears to influence their choices. It's like being a puppeteer, pulling the strings from behind the curtain. However, it's essential to remember that this is not the norm for INFJs. Most of them use their intuitive abilities to empathize with others, understand their perspectives, and build meaningful relationships. They are more likely to be the compassionate counselor, the trusted confidant, the loyal friend. But just like any tool, their intuition can be used in different ways. In the wrong hands, it can lead to manipulation. It's a reminder that even the most empathetic individuals can be swayed by their darker impulses. While this is not a common trait, it's something to be aware of. Recognizing this potential for manipulation is the first step in ensuring it doesn't become a reality. It's a call for INFJs to use their unique abilities responsibly, and for others to be mindful of the power these abilities can hold. Number 2, emotional withdrawal and coldness. INFJs, with their introverted and sensitive nature, may at times retreat into their shell, a place that feels safe and familiar. This emotional withdrawal can be seen as their defense mechanism, a way to protect their delicate inner world from harsh realities. They might put up cold fronts, mimicking the chill of winter, silent and unyielding. This is the INFJ's way of creating boundaries, to preserve their inner peace and balance. However, this coping strategy can be misconstrued by others. It might come across as coldness or indifference, creating a challenging dynamic in relationships. To some, they might appear unapproachable, distant even. It's like a castle with high walls and a closed drawbridge, seemingly impervious to outside influences. However, it's essential to remember that these walls are not permanent. They are just the INFJ's way of seeking refuge when the world becomes too loud. This can create a challenging dynamic in relationships, making them seem unapproachable. Number 3, repression and explosion. INFJs are well known for their empathetic nature, often absorbing the emotions of those around them. However, they have a tendency to internalize these feelings, rather than expressing them openly. This repression can create a pressure cooker effect. The emotions build and build until they can no longer be contained. And then, boom, an emotional explosion. These outbursts can be startling, especially coming from someone who's usually so composed. Imagine a calm lake suddenly erupting into a geyser. That's an INFJ in the throes of an emotional explosion. It's not a pretty sight, and can be quite unsettling for those caught in the blast radius. But it's important to remember that these explosions aren't acts of aggression. They're cries for help, signals that the INFJ has been carrying too much for too long. It's a reminder that even the strongest among us have limits. These emotional outbursts can be intense and unexpected. Number 4, secretive and aloof. The INFJ personality type, with its preference for solitude and introspection, can often be perceived as secretive and aloof. This is not necessarily intentional, but rather a byproduct of their introverted nature. They value their privacy and may not readily share personal information, even with those they trust deeply. This can make them seem like a mystery, hidden behind a veil of reticence. Their aloofness, on the other hand, stems from their need to conserve energy. Social interactions, particularly superficial ones, can be draining for INFJs. Consequently, they may choose to limit their social engagements, appearing detached or indifferent to others. However, it's important to remember that this secrecy and aloofness is often a protective mechanism, a way for INFJs to maintain their emotional balance. It doesn't mean they care any less or that they're incapable of forming deep connections. This can make them seem distant and hard to connect with. Number 5, idealism and perfectionism turned cynicism. A defining trait of INFJs is their idealism. They hold themselves and the world around them to incredibly high standards. They envision a world where harmony, compassion, and mutual respect are not just concepts, but realities. However, when reality fails to meet their lofty expectations time and again, their idealism can morph into cynicism. Their perfectionist tendencies also play a part in this. INFJs strive for excellence in everything they do. When they or others fall short, it can lead to disappointment. This disappointment, when experienced repeatedly, can turn into cynicism. They might begin to question the feasibility of their ideals and become disillusioned with the world. This transformation from idealism and perfectionism to cynicism can be a dangerous shift. It can lead INFJs to develop a negative outlook, making them more critical and less forgiving. This can lead to a negative outlook and a bitter attitude. Number 6, knowing others' weaknesses. INFJs, with their keen perception and deep understanding of people, often have an uncanny ability to decipher weaknesses in others. This isn't born out of malicious intent, but rather their empathetic nature and insightful intuition. They can sense vulnerabilities and insecurities, sometimes even before the person themselves realizes it. Their emotional intelligence allows them to navigate social landscapes like an adept sailor in a sea of human complexity. However, this understanding can be a potent tool if misused. An INFJ on the wrong path may exploit these weaknesses, turning their insight into a weapon of manipulation. They can, unintentionally or not, hit where it hurts the most, using their knowledge to gain an unfair advantage or to protect themselves. This insight can become a double-edged sword. While it can foster deep connections and understanding, it can also lead to potential harm if not handled with care and responsibility. This is why knowing others' weaknesses is another way INFJs can be seen as dangerous. Number 7, martyr complex. Let's turn our focus now to a less obvious yet equally impactful aspect of the INFJ personality, the martyr complex. INFJs, with their innate desire to help others and their impossibly high standards, often find themselves in a self-imposed martyrdom. They feel the need to sacrifice their own needs and well-being for the benefit of those around them. This is born out of their deep-seated belief that they are the guardians of harmony and peace. They feel a profound sense of responsibility to keep their environment balanced and free of conflict. But here's the catch. They often do so at their own expense, neglecting their personal needs and desires. This self-sacrificing attitude, while noble, can ironically become a source of discord. It can lead to resentment, burnout, and strained relationships. A healthy balance is key, because in the end, even the most selfless INFJ needs to remember that they too are worthy of care and kindness. This self-sacrificing attitude can be damaging to themselves and their relationships. Understanding these potential pitfalls is crucial for an INFJ. Self-knowledge is the compass that guides us through the labyrinth of our minds. It helps us understand our strengths, weaknesses, and the unique quirks that make us who we are. For an INFJ, knowing their tendencies towards idealism, perfectionism, and emotional intensity can be the key to avoiding the dangers we've discussed. By understanding these traits, INFJs can work to balance their emotions, temper their expectations, and engage in healthier, more fulfilling relationships. This self-knowledge is not just for INFJs, but for everyone. Understanding our own personality type is like having a roadmap to our own psyche. It illuminates our path, helping us navigate life more successfully. So, what do you think? Are there any other ways you think INFJs can be dangerous? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to download our free ebook about the 8 introverted Myers-Briggs personality types from the link in the description. Enjoy the journey of learning more about personality types, and be sure to subscribe for more helpful content. See you in the next video.